Ihor Kozlovskiy is a famous Ukrainian scientist, historian, yogi, and head of a number of theological organizations in Donetsk. He was detained in Donetsk on January the 27th, 2016. The Kozlovskiy family have not seen him since. They have hardly been able to communicate with him or receive any information regarding his deteriorating health. Separatists have accused Kozlovskiy of espionage and weapons manufacturing, but have so far failed to provide any evidence of this.
He's a well-known person, especially in scientific circles, in the world of religious organizations. And he has a few awards from different countries for his scientific and humanitarian activities. He met Pope Paul II and the main rabbi of Israel. He's not only the scientist, not a theologist and culturologist, but he's a person who always tried to establish a dialogue between different religions, and it was one of his main goals. And he was successful in these goals, actually. And we know that in Donetsk, representatives almost all confessions and religions, they usually meet at his round table conference and the things like this. And they all can communicate. When he was like a moderator, they all can communicate, and it was a very unique situation for Ukraine and for the world, I think. So probably he's one of the very rare person in this way that can provide these activities and can make this happen.
If we want to have a dialogue, we need to get rid of all the standard words and phrases. We need to live in a valued environment. What are the common values for everybody? Peace, good life and health, and a constructive dialogue which gives us some perspective. We all should be orientated towards our values.
Why he was staying in Donetsk?
The main reason that he has a ill son that with a broken spine and Down syndrome, and this was the reason he was worried how his son can survive during moving from Donetsk somewhere else. That's why he's staying in Donetsk. And he was a pensioner already, so he didn't work at the moment that he was captured. I don't know, we still don't know reason why he was imprisoned.
So what happened? So he's so for how long is he detained? What's happening to him? What we know?
He was captured on 27th of January 2016. And since then, we didn't have possibility to meet him, not the members of the family, nobody. We only know that he was captured by so-called MGB, Ministry of State Defense in Donetsk People Republic, also so-called. And we know that he's in prison in Donetsk. We talked for a few times by phone last year. It was a short period when he was allowed to call, but I think this finished at the beginning of December, so we didn't hear a word from him starting from the beginning of December last year.
How did he sound when you talked?
You know, he's a really unique person in the way how he accepts the world around and the reality. And if you ask him, even when he in prison, if you ask him, how are you doing? He'd say, like, I'm okay. Everything's okay. Because he's a very spiritual, if I can say so. And it helped him to survive and help him to stay strong in this situation. And it's really difficult, as you can imagine.
How do you know if there were any tortures or something like that, of that kind?
Yes, we know that in the beginning, in the first month, there were tortures for sure. They tried to make him say that he is a spy or whatever they try to make him say. I don't know for sure, but we know the fact.
When the legal system doesn't work, then rule of force succeeds. A man with a gun considers it absolute truth, and then any dissidence is under threat.
What we also, you know, your uncle is also not just the theologist, he's the author of the number books of yoga.
It was an area of his interest, I think, from the childhood. I know for sure that he was a really big specialist in the former Soviet Union, and people from all over the country came to Donetsk to make some consultations with him. From the very beginning, we started to communicate with different international organizations about this case, but we tried to make United Nations and OSCE and Red Cross and all these international organizations that work in occupied part of Donetsk Oblast to influence the situation, to help to find some solutions, but nothing really happened because they had no influence there, actually. And Ukrainian governmental institution doesn't help also, because all that they can do is to ask the question during Minsk meeting, and it's always the same question and the same answer. I think the only way to make him free, to set him free, is to put this question not in the Minsk meeting, but in a Normand format. We send the letters to all the ambassadors of European countries, and we try to reach some American senators and the Council of Europe.
Of course, we need to negotiate on all levels. At local level as well as with Russia. We are doomed to live here and live peacefully hereafter.
So what would be your appeal now?
We can reach many people that it was impossible several years ago, for example, to communicate with somebody from the government in social media or any kind of social media that we have now. But now, as much people as possible, I think if they will share this information, it could work in the end.